What's up, chat? Oh. Anybody who is familiar with my streams knows that my room is not properly insulated. So during the summer months, it becomes extremely comfortable, as in it becomes like, I don't know, 95 degrees. So I'm changing stream times during the summer so I don't have to stay in my room during the afternoon when it reaches its peak heat. This is not a way to be a successful streamer, by the way. If you want to make it as a streamer, you're supposed to stream 8 hours a day at the same time slot every single day, but I don't want to be a successful streamer, so it doesn't really matter. The truth is I can't really do two things at the same time, so if I actually want to draw difficult things, I can't be streaming when I'm doing it. So the harder the stuff I'm trying to draw, the more I have to do it off stream, which just makes it streaming harder and harder. I can never figure out the what do you call it, the collar part of this type of like kimono. I have all this reference images that I constantly look at, and I can never really seem to figure out, like it sort of goes to the back, but I can never really figure out how much it kind of curves around the neck backward. It always feels like it's too much or too little when I draw it. WSG. I finished the Neo 3 demo. This is probably the longest demo that I've played, certainly. Unless we're going back to like PS1 days where there would be like a CD in there, but this is like a 4-hour demo. Maybe longer if you're shitty at video games. Obviously, saying that I played like 5 hours of Neo is not a good sign if we're talking about how well the manga is coming along, but what can I say? When you're staring at the page all day long and thinking about like what kind of manga is entertaining and what isn't, it's pretty easy to enter a zone in which you're just like, why am I doing this? None of this is entertaining. None of this is good. And it kind of makes you realize that the reason why entertainment and entertaining things are entertaining is because you're doing like more boring shit during the day. So it becomes a lot of fun, but when you're forced to stare at it all day long, it's not as much fun, obviously. And yet you still have to like figure out how to maintain that like sense of, I don't know, the reader who is not staring at the page all day long. So you can tell, like, so you have the feeling of how they feel when they read the manga, or else you can't really make accurate judgments on what you need to do to fix a page and stuff. Have a nice day. Maybe I will. My day generally starts at, I don't know, midnight. I play about... First I shit around midnight. And then I wait for my hemorrhoids to go back into my body. So they're not, like, extending out of my body. Then I go to the gym at around 3 a.m. after my hemorrhoids have returned to their internal hemorrhoid state. I usually play video games while I'm waiting for the hemorrhoids to go back in. Then when we get back from the gym, we procrastinate for about an hour, and then I start drawing from like 4 or 5 till about noon. And then once we get into the afternoon zone, it's when I have to get out of my fucking room because it's too damn hot. So then we go sleep in the basement until night when the sun goes down, and then I can finally go back to my room and turn on the fan and get the cold outside air inside. And then if the NBA game is on, I watch that. That's like a 24-hour cycle for me right now. Sounds painful. My hemorrhoids are not painful because they don't have any pain nerves in them, which is why I've been ignoring them for so long. Has Aubrey resigned herself to being a cuck? I'm glad that you are able to successfully recognize the cuck face in action right now. That means this page is a success. But if there's one thing that everybody in this chat is familiar with, it's being a cuck, I assume. Not because you have the opportunity to be cucked in real life, but because you all have 10,000 gigs of NTR porn on your hard drives just like me. I've tried to jack off with the maximum NTR mentality of pretending that I have a tiny penis, and my waifu is way more attracted to the BBC or whatever these people fap to, but yeah, I can't really self-insert as a person with a tiny penis because I don't have a tiny penis. It's very difficult. You have to have very low self-esteem, or at least pretend you have very low self-esteem to achieve maximum NTR gooning potential. Never really got into NTR. I swear to God, like half of hentai at this point is NTR. If we're talking about Korean authors, it's probably like 90% NTR. It's impressive how much Koreans love getting cucked in their hentai. I've always said that Korean society is like Japanese society except on steroids. So all the negative aspects of Japanese society are just like turned up to 11 in Korea. And that goes the same for like their NTR porn. You have to have like a combination of both feeling like the female character or female, actual existing female belongs to you and doesn't have, I don't know, the right to free will. And then you also have to like have a low self-esteem and find penile joy in having low self-esteem and jacking off in a state of depression to truly enjoy the NTR in its purest form. If not, you just self-insert as the bull instead. It's pretty funny when you're looking at AI porn of NTR and they try and generate the small penis MC-kun, except they can't because the AI algorithm is too used to every male having massive giga penises. So like the comparison small white penis is still like 12 inches long. Maybe not that big, but I pretty frequently see these like NTR AI compilations where it begins with the anime girl being like having sex with the supposedly white or Asian guy and being unsatisfied with the penis size, and then like the second half of the AI porn set is her having sex with the BBC, where she learns the superior form of penis, except because the AI isn't competent enough to generate small penises, the MC default penis is like a solid 8 inches long, and you're like, huh, I don't know, she might be kind of a size queen there. People told me that I should be using layer masks, so I guess I will. At least it saves me creating a separate layer for things like white areas and stuff. Where is it? Ouroboros Worm, thanks for the sub. Glad to support your work. Hope all is going well. It's going pretty well. As anybody who has ever thought of becoming a pro artist knows, you sort of go in between being like, there's no way I can make it, and then also being like, I'm definitely gonna make it, back and forth forever. But as you start to get better, your feeling of maybe I'm gonna make it becomes more frequent. It sort of alternates on like every 2 days or so, or maybe even every other day. I've had a lot of breakthroughs recently with what type of pens I want to use and in what situations I'm going to use the different pens. So once I really get that down and kind of establish some baseline rules on how I'm going to like fill up the page and then how I'm going to do it, then I think my speed's going to start going up pretty quickly. It's still slow right now because I haven't really figured out anything, but I currently have multiple pens that produce the lines I want on like the first try, which was not the case a while ago. Oh, so how is everyone doing? I assume that most of you are Euro viewers or looking at the stream during work, one or the other. Terrible, vibing before my night shift. If I wasn't still trying to be a mangaka, when I fail at becoming a mangaka, I will probably be like some sort of night shift worker. Japanese midnight kombini employee, along with my Vietnamese co-worker. You know that your brain is fully in the coom zone when someone just types night shift and you immediately think of night shift nurses. But perhaps you guys are all too old to know that classic hentai. A staple of my childhood gooning collection. Me and the team make cheese. I went to a Japanese hospital last year to get a lot of my vitals checked because their medical system doesn't require all the insurance bullshit. But none of the nurses were dressed like night shift nurse characters at this point. Sad. However, even if they're wearing just scrubs and stuff, the Japanese nurses were still hot, so I'm okay with that. It all worked out. They were still attractive enough. Get your head out of the gutter. If you think about it, there's no reason why the night shift nurses has to be at night. They could just be doing that during the day. Seeing how is in the standard hentai, nobody ever like gets caught doing lewd stuff in hentai anyways. Like train molestation in a crowded train car. Nah, you're never gonna get caught. So I assume the whole point of night shift nurses is because it's at night, it gives them opportunity to do all the lewd stuff, like shit themselves. I think there's a lot of shitting in that hentai series, I can't remember. But I don't think they really need to do that at night. How's life, Heatwave, over there? When you're drawing manga, that's basically all you're doing is drawing manga, sadly. My father visited this weekend, so I had a slight break from grinding out pages nonstop. But instead of that serving as like a nice break that re-energized me, it actually like took away all my energy. It really shows that I'm highly introverted, so any kind of human social interaction, it just robs me of energy, and I had to basically take a day off just because I had socialized with my parent for a weekend. It was just like, oh shit, I'm fucking done now. How's the doujinshi life? You know that the term doujinshi means doujin means people that like share a common goal, and shi means like book. So it's a book that you create with your friends, basically your club and stuff. So by the very definition of the word, if you have no friends and you're just drawing it alone, it's not a doujinshi. Obviously, like most terminology, nobody actually cares about where the word originally came from, but I'm just saying. It is true that a lot of doujin. That's why when you classify doujins, there's often, besides the author, there's the doujin circle, you know. And in the modern era, usually the circle and the author are they're both just one person. But I remember back in the day, in like the 2000s and stuff, like there would be a single circle, and they would also like publish a bunch of different stuff by different authors. So you'd have to be like, it's this circle, but I like this author, and I don't like the other author. Or at the second half of the doujin, there would be like there would be like the better author in the first half of the doujin, and the second half of the doujin there would be always like a shittier author. I mean, I would always be like, bro, I know this doujin is like 30 pages, but I only want the first like 18 pages. But that's the whole part of like the doujin circle being like a group of people, you and your buddies. Because, you know, it's hard to draw like 30 pages by yourself. At least it was back then. Now if you go on DL site or DMM nowadays and buy doujins, like the average doujin right now, the average doujin length right now is like 70 pages and shit. People are just like overworking themselves. Are there doujin circles that are a writer and artist team? There might be for the non-porn ones. I'm not sure. For porn, you know, you don't really need much writing. I can't think of anything off the top of my head where I saw a doujin circle where there was a writer credit. Obviously for published work, that's the most common form of like multiple authors, right? Is you have the writer and then the artist. But for doujins, it's usually like one person draws the thing they like and the other person draws the thing they like. Like if you go into my 500 gigs of doujin porn that I found on the internet, the most common version of multiple authors is like there'll be rival schools Capcom doujin, and of course I'm gonna save that because, you know, 2000s era Capcom content was fire. But like one person will be drawing Tiffany content and the other person will be drawing Kyoko content or something like that. That's usually how it's set up. Wonder how that came to be. It comes because people would have basically like manga clubs in college and stuff. It was part of the otaku community culture that was going from like the 70s or so. Ugh. All in all, life is better for me now because there's actually video games I want to play for the first time in a while. I was kind of reaching peak, like, what is there for me to play now mode because of the horrible state the Western video game and Japanese video game industry was in, but the recent state of play with the announcement of Neo and Pragmata and stuff like that, it finally seems like we're kind of back in the normal video game release zone. It's not amazing, but it's not like I have nothing to look forward to anymore. Play Star Sector? Wait, is that, I think I've heard of it, but I don't know. What genre is that? I had to have a profile for the neck of the curve of the neck stuff. Star Sector. Space. I don't like space that's just space. Oh, it's a role-playing game. Yeah, I cannot play anything that is going to have me playing it for like 500 hours. I don't know how long this is going to be, but it looks like it's pretty long. Anything procedurally generated, and if I enjoy the game, that means I'm going to play it for like 500 hours, right? Can you send the link of the side profile? Good anatomy reference? That's just me going onto the Google and image searching muscular man side view. It will show up if you just do that. It's one of the free images that'll just show up. Just use Google or Bing or whatever, and you'll get a bunch of images for pretty much anything. I'm so glad I'm drawing shit in the age of the internet where I don't have to actually collect references. I could just go and find them. What do you think of Tokon? You mean Tokon? You mean the Marvel Arc System Works fighter? The word Tokon means like fighting spirits. It's interesting that they chose to use a Japanese word that Westerners won't know what the fuck they're talking about. I wish I knew you did streams early. I would have been able to make it to the Saturday one. My stream times are going to continue to be extremely unstable, so there's no point in treating me like a proper, serious streamer, because I'm not going to behave like one. I'm going to try and stream earlier so I won't get trapped in my room with it being super hot and uncomfortable, but it's something that I don't have a ton of motivation for, so maybe I'm becoming a boomer, but why the fashion trend of heroes in fancy clothing? Are the Tokon spirits heroes wearing fancy clothing? My number one guess would be because they need women to wear more clothes, because if they're wearing the leotard and you can see their ass shape, the Gooners will be happy. And a lot of the modern politics is about not satisfying the Gooners' sexual needs, so that's probably a part of it. Also, in a video game, you can afford to have fancier clothing, because if you have like a dress with a bunch of frills and shit like that in a cartoon, and you have to draw that same outfit every single time the character shows up on the page, that's a huge pain in the ass. But if it's a video game, you just make the model once, and then you just have the model, so it's not as big a deal. That might be part of it. Trying to figure out the right amount of detail to put in Aubrey's hair here, because she's in the cuck zone right now, so maybe it's less detail. A childhood friend took too long, now her ovaries are dried up. I have specifically not included any ages in my manga, specifically so people can't be like, oh my god, you're sexualizing a 25-year-old. That's literally a child. I initially started writing the manga, making it so it was clear how old the characters were. Probably because, like, Oda started doing that with One Piece. He clearly states that Luffy is like 17 and stuff. And I was like, nah, fuck that. I'm gonna be posting this on Twitter. I'm not gonna give them anything. No numbers allowed. So that's right. Aubrey's ovaries are now dried up. She's hitting menopause clearly, as you can tell from this image. Are they all 20-somethings and Grak is like 60? Grak is like 40, which is the equivalent of being like 25 if you're a dwarf. And Xana is like 60, which is the equivalent of being like 16 if you're an elf. Something in that range. Also, I can't figure out how much cleavage I want to give her. In general, I don't want to give the cleavage and then only show the cleavage in select amounts. What am I doing here? Aubrey is a tease in other words. Aubrey has big boobs. She has way bigger boobs than Xana. Or at least that was how it was starting to be. Xana was supposed to be like super flat, but eventually as I was drawing her, I couldn't maintain the balance. And now they have relatively similar boob sizes, but Aubrey's is supposed to be like a D cup and Xana is supposed to be like a C cup or something. I don't know. Initially I was thinking of making Xana into like true Giga Flat. But it's kind of hard to draw flat characters when you're used to drawing boobs all the time. Female, flat and tall, rare combination. It's not actually rare, especially if you see like shoujo manga or like female models and stuff. Women like tall, thin women based on like the fashion industry, you know. I mean, if you look at the cover page, I literally started drawing her with the cover page. The boobs are like squished because of like the halter top or something. But they're still flatter than what we have down here. But maybe you can just say that they're being pushed into her chest. I don't know. Maybe it's a little more consistent than I'm giving myself credit for. The more I draw her, definitely the boobs become larger, though. They're definitely not getting smaller, that's for sure. This is pretty normal among manga authors. That female character with big boobs, the boobs get bigger and bigger. If you're interested in this phenomenon, you should try checking out a mahjong manga called Saki. I forgot what her name was. But she's infamous on the Japanese internet for her tits becoming giga huge. What's her name? I'm trying to find the time passage. It's the pink-haired one. But she starts with like somewhat large boobs, and then in later stages she gets her own Reddit threads with Redditors being like, "What the hell happened? Please explain." The power of mahjong. Exploding the boob size. I think what I find offensive about this image is the shoulder width and the legs and the ass and stuff don't properly have also, they haven't grown large enough to support the weight of the big boobs. This is not hecking wholesome. Yeah, we just wanted a hecking wholesome manga about hecking wholesome high school girls engaging in a gambling game. Nothing wholesome like fucking mahjong, am I right, fellow gambling addicts? I know this is going to piss a lot of people off, but I think there's a fundamental problem with a game that requires 4 people to play it. I think that's a shitty game. Also, if multiple players decide that they're gonna collude against you and like fuck you over, it's super easy for them to do it. Just like the fundamentals of mahjong just seem like poorly thought out. It's like, we need 4 people to play, and also we need to make sure that everybody is out for themselves instead of anybody like teaming up to like screw over another person on the table. Unban me after. Sorry, but there, you can't post links if that's what you tried to do. I have links disabled, and I guess I could re-enable them, but I've been too lazy, also I don't know how. I don't know how to use like 90% of the Twitch functionality, so whenever I ask chat is like, should I make it so people can post links? They're like, no, don't do it. It only takes one person to post horse porn for me to become like Forsen. And considering the type of people who enter this stream, there's probably quite a few people who are like, here, click on this anime link, and it's just a giant horse cock. That's the Saki breast timeline. Yeah, I can find it. It's not a big deal, though. We all know the breast timeline. It's big boobs. You can find it yourself on the internet. Also, I tried playing mahjong once, and I gave up. I started to memorize the rules and stuff. I'm just not interested in gambling-based games. I was playing, I don't like counting. That's always a problem. My math brain is so shitty that if I have to count at any point, I'm like, I'm not having fun. I'm playing video games to have fun, not to do basic arithmetic. I was playing BaalBud earlier this year. Or I guess earlier this month. And I have uninstalled it so I won't get addicted to it. But I was like properly counting cards and stuff at the beginning. And then eventually I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm just going to try and build decks where, you know, I only have one type of suit. And then I can just play flushes again and again. I'm not going to do proper card counting. That's too much math. Every once in a while I might be like, I might try and do some smart plays and stuff, but that's just asking me to do too much thinking. It's too painful. Domino poker, Cuban dominoes are goated. Is dominoes also a 4-player game? I've never played dominoes. Nor do I really plan to, but I just have an image of like a bunch of Cuban old guys sitting in a circle, wearing like Hawaiian shirts or being like shirtless, smoking cigars and cigarettes as they play dominoes in communist Cuba. Sounds like a fun time, except it also looks hot. And I don't like any place that's hot. I was watching some travel log on YouTube about a guy in Egypt. And I was like, wow, Egypt looks so cool. And then I was like, wait, I would actually fucking hate it if I was there. I can't actually handle any place that's above 20 degrees Celsius. I don't know. 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That's asking too much from me. This is supposed to be an image in which like Aubrey is kind of fading out, so I don't want to add too much dark lines here. I'm gonna make her hair lighter and then make the hair darker in the other panel. Can't come to Scandinavia, you'll get seasonal depression instead. I can get my own seasonal depression at home. What about during the summer when you can get insomnia because the sun never sets? Ultimately, I'm antisocial, so I don't want to play with other people. That's kind of my problem. So I definitely don't want to play like an 8-man domino game. See ya. I don't know, I feel like a lot of the joy of Scandinavia is, besides depression during the winter, is like drinking beer and eating fish during the summer. But I don't like fish and I can't handle any kind of alcohol. So I feel like I'd be missing out on 90% of what people are enjoying. I remember my mother went on like some sort of Eastern Germany vacation when I was still like 16 or 17. I accompanied her, and it fucking sucked because she didn't actually let me drink beer, despite me being like legal for the country's laws at the time. But now I don't drink beer because I realize I have the Japanese metabolism that doesn't handle alcohol. So I don't even try. I'm just gonna feel like shit if I drink any kind of alcohol, so there's no point in trying. Do you have the Asian alcohol allergy that makes your face red too? Specifically, it's not an allergy, but your liver or whatever produces enzymes to digest or break apart the alcohol, the poisoning of the alcohol. And a lot of Asians only have like 1 or 0 of those enzymes or some shit like that. They made us test that at when I was in a Japanese high school, because it's just a common problem among Asians. And out of a class of about 30 people, it was like me and one other person. We basically took an alcohol swab and just stuck it on our arm for like 5 minutes, and the people who didn't have the alcohol resistance got this like clean square shaped red dot on your arm where the swab was. It's like, yeah, you're lacking the alcohol resistance. I was like, huh. I didn't really think much about it at the time, but when I went to college and started drinking, or attempting to drink at least, I found out the hard way that I wasn't going to be able to hold my liquor. So I had a few periods in which I was like, I'm going to try and drink a little bit after college as well, but eventually I just gave up completely. Because, you know, alcohol ultimately is, it's a social thing, you know? So if you don't want to socialize with anybody, and I don't because I'm in full Asperger mode, then, yeah, it's not really relevant to you. Huh? Alcohol? Alcohol is, it's expensive, it's bad for you. If you drink too much, you're gonna feel like shit. However, it's easy to be like, why does anyone want to drink? And then you remember that the United States tried to make it illegal, and that didn't go very well. Again, it's for, you know, socializing. If you don't want to socialize with people, like, why is the birth rate going down? Because people aren't drinking enough. Gotta get drunk and then do some regrettable actions. They can't make alcohol legal. They did. It didn't work out very well. Whiskey liquor can be nice on a chill evening. In my opinion, just sipping in moderation. There is no moderation if you don't have the enzymes like I don't. You'll go immediately from like feeling nothing to having like a fucking hangover. I'm capable of skipping the buzz period entirely. It's just like, oh man, my head is already starting to hurt. The other day, my mother was drinking non-alcoholic beer, and even non-alcoholic beer has alcohol in it because they can't successfully remove 100% of it. So it's like 0.5% or 0.2% alcohol or some shit like that. And I was still getting drunk on like the 0.2%. Like I had like half a glass of non-alcoholic beer, and it was I was feeling the effects, and I was like, yeah, I'm fucking donezo. There's no way I can drink under any circumstance. I was probably not this weak back in the day, but from I've been abstaining for quite a while now, so I'm even weaker than I used to be. It's not happening for me. I have the opposite problem, alcohol resistance due to Eastern European genes. Yeah, if you want to get buzzed and you have like super high tolerance, you have to drink like a full 6-pack. And then you get fat as fuck because you're drinking like 1,000 calories of, you know, wheat, basically. Wheat and sugar. There's basically no way to drink alcohol without consuming sugar or whatever, so... Tastes like shit regardless. I don't know, I've never had any difficulty with the flavor of alcohol. In fact, I enjoy the flavor of beer and stuff like that. But unfortunately, I cannot consume it. It certainly saves money, that's for sure. I can't imagine the budget it requires for people with like the Eastern European genes if they want to get drunk and they have to like down a fucking 6-pack every weekend just to get slightly buzzed. Treating being able to drink a lot as something cool is pretty stupid. Yeah, but you have to understand that the people who do that are very young, as in they're like 19. So they do a lot of stupid shit and treat it as being cool, like jumping off a bridge. It's like your dad's like, just because your friend does something, are you gonna do it too? If your friend jumps off a bridge, are you gonna do it? And you're like, yeah, of course I am. It's fucking awesome, bro. Shit is rad. I love riding my motorcycle with no helmet and getting drunk and trying out various recreational drugs and having unprotected sex. Of course, I wasn't doing that shit even when I was young because I'm highly risk averse. I'm the party pooper. Or I would be the party pooper if I actually showed up to the party in the first place, but I stopped doing that as well, so... Most of this is social pressure, and because I don't want to socialize with people, I don't feel any social pressure. It's my superpower. Do it for the nakama. I can't remember if... Do One Piece characters actually drink alcohol, or do they, like... Because, like, Japanese manga, I think they actually have, like, legal reasons why if you're showing underage kids, you can't show them, like, getting drunk on alcohol, because it's, like, supporting the idea that drinking is fun and cool and shit like that. I remember, there was a scene in Eye Shield 21 where they were, like, drinking beer-like substances, but the manga purposefully stated very clearly that it was not beer, but like some form of tea that was foaming or some shit. And I was like, God, that's so fucking lame. You can't even have people break the law in fictional context. You can have people murder each other, but it's like the American version of all the sex prudery shit, where you know, you can have mass murder, but you can't have, you know, show a nipple. It's like that version, except for drugs. But I can't remember if One Piece had the sort of like censorship going. It would be extremely stupid if Zoro was like, Luffy, make sure you don't drink any of that alcohol. That's bad for you because you're underage. And Luffy was like, that's right, I should follow these legal guidelines set by the Japanese government. Like, they always have the party scenes in One Piece, right? After they defeat the villain of that arc. I can't remember if Luffy is like openly drinking stuff that would be considered to be alcohol in that or not. They often show up with those tankards of ale kind of stuff. But is that supposed to be alcohol? Maybe they don't say specifically that's alcohol. I'm pretty sure Zoro gets away with drinking though. But Zoro isn't supposed to be 17. Are you gonna make the dwarf in this comic connect to your idea of isekai into a dwarf who wants hot elf coochie? No, because that dwarf would be the main MC dwarf. Grak is a dwarfy dwarf who likes dwarf women with beards and stuff. He doesn't like elves. The hairier and more muscular the women are, the hotter it is for dwarves. They definitely drink a lot of alcohol and people get drunk, but after the time skip, no one is under 19. Yeah, but I can't remember if they were... I felt like they were drinking before the time skip, but maybe not. Luffy already behaves like he's high or drunk, so... The idea that it could get even worse from there seems terrifying. Zoro and Nami participated in a drinking contest on Whiskey Peak. That's right. And Nami is specifically stated as being 17, so... So they did, They did drink alcohol. I feel like half of the discussion in this chat is often made up of me considering what type of horrible shit goes on behind the scenes in the One Piece universe. Whether it's like sexual slavery or whether they're using drugs or drinking and shit. I mean, they are pirates. How many people has Luffy killed, guys? The answer is no one, because people don't die in the One Piece universe unless it's a flashback, so... How can the world government allow underage drinking in One Piece world? Shake my head, passive, pensive emoji. Pirates don't kill people. Have they explained... I haven't read any of the recent One Piece content, but have they explained why the world government, like, the aristocrats in the spacesuits, why they, have such absolute control, and they're allowed to do whatever the fuck they want? Or is it just sort of still left unanswered? Oda really should clean this shit up soon, because You know, he might die. Oda, you don't have that much time left. The voice actors are also getting older. They had to replace the iconic Frankie voice actor. Did you see that they just replaced the actor for Sabo? The guy who does the Gundam voice of Amuro, but not because he's getting old, even though he's old, but because he was having an affair with like one of his fans. Apparently, one of his fans was like a super fan, and when he would stream or something, she would like throw tons of cash at him. And she was a woman working in a soap land or something. She was a semi prostitute or full prostitute, I guess. And she was throwing lots of money at him, and then he started having an official affair with her, even though he was married. So he didn't actually do anything illegal, but this was enough to piss off enough people that they're dropping him from the character voices from a bunch of characters. I doubt he'll crash out like George R. R. Martin did recently, though. How is George R. R. Martin doing? Has he written anything? Guys, when is the books of Game of Thrones gonna be finished? Clueless. I'm sure George is writing them right now. Am I right? There is no way he would leave me, his biggest fan, hanging. I think Twitch is censoring you from my followed streamers tab. You aren't appearing on it. I mean, it's Twitch. That seems possible. Has anyone else had that problem? Me as well? Huh, interesting. I have been getting fewer and fewer subs and fewer viewers over time. This is the problem with the internet, right? Is when you're being successful, you can be pretty confident that it's like your own skills like pushing you ahead of the competition, but when you start losing like eyeballs and shit, it can be any number of like viewership suppression mechanisms, and there's no fucking way to know if it's the platform fucking with you or not, and there's really nothing you can do. You're on my follow list and I get notifications for it. There might be a difference in like some people's settings. Like maybe if you in your settings you have something like age, or you're allowed for vulgarity or something like that. Because like I have this stream set to adult topics or some shit like that. I'm pretty sure. So that might be affecting something. I don't know. He wrote a blog post complaining about people asking about Winds of Winter, and he mentioned, ironically, that he will die before finishing it. I mean, he might be mentioning it ironically, but considering the physical shape he is in, I will unironically theorize that he will in fact die before he finishes it. Also, I'm pretty sure he doesn't know how to finish it. I don't think it's like it's super long and he can't finish it, although I'm sure it is super long. I think this is just an issue of like he doesn't know how to finish it. I don't think it's that complicated. He doesn't know the correct way to end it. The stream has always been adult, yeah, but the Twitch internal rules might have changed. Leave George R. R. Martin alone, bruh. I mean, everyone is leaving him alone. Isn't that kind of the problem? He doesn't have an editor to kick his ass at this point. Oda is like an exception of someone who has like a massive opus, his magnum opus, that he's trying to finish it even though he's 100% made it. And he has more money than he could ever use. And drawing non-stop every single day has negatively affected his health and stuff. And he's literally killing himself to do it. Everybody else is just like, I'm okay. I just want to enjoy life. I made it. I.e. Togashi. Although Fujita Kazuhiro is back. I don't know if you guys follow him, but that's the author of Karakuri Circus and Ushio and Tora and Gekko Jore and stuff like that. He's one of the big shonen manga authors who has drawn a bunch of successful storylines that have actually been properly finished. He's like 60 or something. 60, 70. Oda can't revise or strike any One Piece chapter from canon. I feel bad for him. I mean, if he wanted to, he probably could. If Oda was actually like, I'm changing it, I think he would be able to get away with it. It's just that he personally doesn't like that approach to storytelling. I think it's that simple. I mean, look at what Murata was doing with One Punch Man. He rewrote the same section like 5 times. Okay, it was only twice, but it took him like a year and a half because he reset and like an entire volume worth of progress because he didn't like it. Maybe I just do it by hand. Sometimes you just gotta do it analog. Personally, I could never imagine drawing like 100 pages of content and being like, oh, it's not good enough. I'm just gonna reset it and pretend like it never happened. I was just like, holy shit, I worked so hard to draw this. It's not like One Punch Man is a particularly complicated plot. If anything, it's like the most simple plot on the planet. See, this is sort of where my lack of experience in manga is showing. I can draw like characters and facial expressions and basically all the stuff I was drawing when I was making these short Twitter images and shit. But I don't have any experience in traditional manga techniques on how to fill the page with details. Like, obviously, I know the existence of all the screen tones and stuff like that, but I don't know when to deploy what type of techniques. See, I can't actually put like speed lines because then it'll make it look like there's some sort of movement. I don't want movement. I want like atmosphere. Trying to draw the vague feelings of atmosphere. That's some shoujo manga shit right there. And then where do I put the lines? Do I put it behind the character or in front of the character? That type of shit. And do I want more lines up near the top of the page? I don't think so. Man, this music is putting me asleep right now. Feels a little too early to go to Gachi though. It says lo-fi beats to sleep, so I guess that makes sense. I feel like the biggest use of AI now is just creating comfy pseudo-Japan cyberpunk images with a non-Japanese 90s race car at some vaguely defined convenience store. And then the music is probably also made with AI too at this point. I don't think a lot of jobs are going to be taken away from with AI, but I definitely feel like if you were making non-copyrighted IP, non-IP music to be played as like just background noise, your job might be replaced with AI. If people don't care if it's you who is making the music, then they probably are okay with AI. You have a favorite archetypal film? New Hope, Speed Racer, The Mask of Zorro, Seven Samurai, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly is officially my favorite movie. I think it's the best. It's weird to say it, but I think it's the best shonen story in terms of like you have multiple high-powered characters on a collision course with each other, and the entire story is about setting up their conflict. I would say it's a big inspiration for me about what I want in terms of a shonen setup. A New Hope is like, I mean, Lucas was already basing A New Hope on a bunch of archetypal stories before that, so it's weird to call that an archetypal story. The best shonen cowboy is The Quick and the Dead by Sam Raimi, LOL. Yeah, Quick and the Dead is definitely shonen. I'd say it's like a cheaper, worse version of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. It is a fucking tournament arc. I swear to God, literally every single shonen, if they feel like they're losing popularity, they're just like, well, I guess we'll just start the tournament arc, right? I wonder if it really helps. I know it used to help, like maybe in the 90s. People were like, yeah, I fucking love this tournament arc. I have no idea who's gonna win, you know, people were felt that way, but I mean, at this point it's kind of a meme. So I wonder, like, there's still so many manga that they just like ignore the whole point of their plot and are like, well, we're gonna start the tournament arc. I say this because I downloaded a bunch of volumes of Seven Deadly Sins Part 2, The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, because I needed reference images for how to draw fantasy backgrounds. You see, I have it already ready on my, like, downloaded on my desktop. You can't download it, by the way. You have to screenshot all the images. But I have it ready specifically so I can draw all these fucking, you know, German-style buildings and stuff. But, yeah, I bought all the way up to the most recent volume, and the more recent volumes are completely worthless to me because of course they started a fucking tournament arc. And not only is a tournament arc boring from like a shonen manga, I've seen this before kind of perspective, but it also the backgrounds, which I bought the manga for in the first place, is just like the fucking tile floors now. You know, they only have to draw the arena. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why there's so many tournament arcs, is that you don't have to draw as much details for like where the people are fighting. On the other hand, if you want to draw like all the audience like freaking out, then that takes a lot of time. So I don't think it's purely for the reason of you know, it's easier to draw. I think it really is because people have been like, it's going to increase popularity. The opposite of the tournament arc is the training arc. Where it's like, bro, are you sure you want to go into a training arc right now? Because I'm worried that you're going to lose popularity and get canceled before the main character can get powered up and get out of the training arc. Remember Red Hood? Red Hood got a lot of traction on the internet briefly because it had large women with big thunder thighs, and everybody was like, whoa. And then Red Hood got axed. And then the author is back with like his Viking manga in the past 3 weeks, and I was reading it and I was like, oh, this looks decent. And after chapter 2, he's already entering a training arc, and I'm like, holy shit, bro. Did you not remember when your previous series got axed because you were doing Cops and Robbers minigame training arc for like 2 months, essentially? How has he not learned from his previous failure? Like, it's okay to have a training arc if you're like 20 volumes in, but you cannot have a training arc in like the first 2 volumes or something of the story. That's just a big no-no if you ask me. Tournament arc can be like a fake filler arc. If you guys need popularity for your shonen, just go to the beach and have an Umida episode where the girls are wearing bikinis and shit. If you ask me, that's a better way to approach it than just starting another fucking tournament arc. I don't know, I don't dislike tournament arcs. They're okay. It's just I don't think it's like something that is gonna solve all your problems. It's clear that a lot of people seem to think that the tournament arc is gonna solve their problem, but I don't think it's that simple. On the other hand, I can't think of any shonen stuff that got cancelled in the middle of their tournament arc, although I'm sure there's some things out there. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. Crab nip my nose so funny, guys. How about Crab nipped the bikini strap and it came off? I feel like that's even more common. Also have to break the watermelon. Classic Japanese game of smashing the watermelon. You peek on your female classmate losing her bikini, and then in the next panel you're buried up to your neck in sand and you're painted to be a watermelon, and then they're about to smash your head open with a wooden sword, and it's all good fun. Hashtag just anime beach episode things. I like non-stop combat and main characters flexing on losers, then you should like tournament arcs. They're supposed to have non-stop combat. Although, I guess like half of the tournament arcs tend to have like some sort of upset in the middle where it's like you didn't know that this tournament was actually a secret plot by the enemy organization to collect our superior fighting genes to create the ultimate fighter, and then the tournament arc gets cancelled halfway through. Or your special rival and the main character don't get to fight in the tournament, and instead like a third character wins or something like that. Pretty normal, if you ask me, in terms of various things that can happen. It's pretty rare in which the MC and the MC's like designated rival actually get to fight at the last part of the tournament arc, and there's a clear winner declared. It almost never happens if you think about it. I prefer the beach episode over the hot springs episode because it allows the author to have a wide variety of swimwear, whereas in the hot springs episode, it's only the towel. And then the yukatas that they wear after the getting into onsen, it's the same for all the characters. So you only get the summer fashion with the beach episode. I remember when Gon and Killua's Nen teacher told his first student that Gon and Killua are more talented than he will ever be. Poor kid got black-pilled. It do be like that sometimes. That's what I like about Hunter x Hunter. They don't... It's shonen, but it's not like shonen. It has the dark reality of just being alive. To some degree, I guess. Wing really had to do it to them. The funny part is that Wing also isn't that talented himself. Fucking glasses nerd getting mogged by a bunch of kids and shit. Terrorist blows the child protagonist's fucking arm off. Don't worry, he'll be fine. I haven't read recent Hunter x Hunter, but I assume everything will be fine. Can you name a main character or any character who has gotten a limb blown off, especially an arm blown off, that didn't get an awesome, either like a super heal so it grows back, or they got an awesome fake arm that has like a gun attached to it that makes them even more powerful. I literally can't remember like any kind of shonen manga where it's like, yeah, he's been crippled, he's having a really hard time in life now that he lost his arm. I guess we'll never see him again because he's too weak now that he lost a limb. It's always like a fucking power-up. Everyone's like, thank God I don't have that extra arm. Now I can replace it with an even more powerful arm. In My Hero Academia, all the characters just get cool cyborg limbs because it's the future. They should just be like, there should be a hero that can just regrow other people's arms and stuff. That's the good thing about JoJo, is that Araki always makes sure to introduce a healer in the earlier stages of the manga. to make sure that he can blow off characters' heads and stuff and then have them heal. It's like, don't worry, I'm using my meat spray to regenerate your head tissue. Hashtag just JoJo things. Oh no, JoJo, your head is, your skull has been fractured. Nah, it's fine. The great thing about Greed Island is that Togashi spent all the time to think up all the cards and stuff like that. Maybe if you go do a deep dive in how the Greed Island card abilities work, you can find a bunch of holes in his logic. But if you're just reading the manga normally, it's just a huge endeavor in terms of like, it's like the thinking man's battle shonen. And man, Togashi had to do a lot of thinking to set up this whole game world and have it not have like glaring flaws in which any reader would be immediately like, wait, can't I just use that card and like counteract this shit and stuff like that? That's what makes Togashi a special, is that shonen manga is all about like feelings and bullshit power-ups, and instead, even though he does have bullshit power-ups, he can spend time to like set up information and then work within the confines of his own system. Togashi made Gon say ni, the N word, on purpose as an anagram. I assume this was an anagram for Jin. I haven't read any of the more recent volumes. Man whose quirk is becoming aroused at random times cannot go near schools. What about the superhero whose quirk is to be aroused by underage girls? Nigero! Run away! The infamous Apex legend. You say run away in Japanese and you're banned permanently. It's just a medical condition. Please don't be ableist. I know that some people with like porn addiction, unable to control their masturbation, have gotten like settlements as being like disabled. If you're one of those guys who just like has to go and immediately jack off like 5 times a day and that you can't control your impulses, I think you can get like classified as disabled or some shit like that, so it's not as crazy as you might think. My Hero Academia world preaches acceptance and diversity. My Hero Academia really didn't land with me. I'm not sure why. I'm just not on the same wavelength as the author, I guess. I will masturbate to Mirko porn, though. I'm okay with that. It comes across as something for women. I mean, isn't the primary popularity of My Hero Academia generated from women imagining Bakugo raping Deku or some shit? If you want to be popular in shonen manga and survive from getting axed, make sure you have two guys in a rival relationship who it seems like they hate each other, and then all the Fujoshi will read your comic for the opportunity to do yaoi coupling of them. Mission accomplished, you know? Women want Bakugo to impregnate Deku forcefully and to execute Mineta. If you're not a hot, ikemen, tall guy and instead a ugly goblin, women want you to die and not exist. More on the news tonight at 9. Shocking. Who would have thought? Even outside of target audiences, though, I just don't think it's that good. On average, this is based on what I was watching a YouTube video of an editor. They said the editor was saying that even if you make something that's really good in manga, that means like 7 out of 10 people will still hate it. So you have to get 3 out of those 10 people to like it and read it, and then maybe 1 out of those 10 people to buy the volume, and then you can survive. So something like One Piece, in which like 5 out of 10 people or 7 out of 10 people like it, is a insane accomplishment. None of the characters are particularly interesting, the setting isn't special or unique, and the narrative is kind of bog standard. I mean, it especially feels that way if you're a Western consumer, right? Because we're drowning in hero power shit. But maybe it doesn't feel that way for the Japanese audience, I don't know. I wasn't reading volumes, the weekly Shonen Jump volumes at the time, so I don't know. Also, there's always, it might just be like a younger person thing, I don't know. Horikoshi ensured that Deku would get his fat girl at the end, and the Fujoshi literally cope and reject the updated ending. I mean, I can't imagine Fujoshi actually thought that there would be a gay ending or some shit like that. I think most Fujoshi are slightly more rational than that, in that they understand that they are sort of on the outside looking in, and the story isn't going to follow what they want. What is really interesting are the Yume Joshi, or the coupling, the shipping Joshi, who, unlike the Fujoshi, they unironically believe that Naruto would get together with Sakura, and they are still angry. The 10 Narusaku fans out there. I think that's funnier, honestly. The setting is opposite of normal hero shit because everyone is superpowered. It looks fanciful on the surface, but it's fucking chaos. You have to get to the second half. I couldn't get through the first, like, several volumes, so I'm never gonna get to the second half. The Bakugo-Deku relationship is too gay, unfortunately. As a heterosexual male, I cannot self-insert. Narusaku makes me believe hetero slop is an actual thing. It is interesting that there is this subcategory of women who don't want to see men having gay sex and instead are more interested in coupling, shipping stuff. We forget about these hetero women. The legendary hetero women who want to self-insert as a basic bitch female like Sakura instead of just seeing gay sex. Was it gayer than Char and Amuro Gundam? Char and Amuro are not actually that gay. Shockingly, they really don't have that sort of homo tension. If you look at Gundam doujins, you don't get into the Fujoshi content really hard until Gundam Seed, and then you have like a shit ton of Kira Athrun stuff. But it wasn't that hot back in the day. Amuro and Char. I think Char is such a lowly pedo mother complex pervert. It's kind of hard to self-insert him as your yaoi protagonist. Whatever, Gundam sucks anyways. Gundam is awesome. Although I don't watch recent Gundam. Gundam was what I was watching during when I was growing up in my youth, but I don't watch it anymore. The thing is, I don't want to watch depressing war stuff. Where if there's actual characters I like, I don't want to see them die. But on the other hand, I don't want to watch non-depressing war stuff either, because that's what I associate Gundam with. So I'm kind of like, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. So I just end up not watching it. I liked Witch of Mercury and liked it so much that I ended watching the original and recently ended Zeta. I'll give you a pro tip as a Gundam fan. You don't have to watch Double Zeta. That's a Gundam fan pro tip. You can watch Double Zeta if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend it. You can fucking skip that shit. Instead, you should try and seek out and find the OVAs of the first 1 Year War, like 0080 and 0083. 0083 is my favorite Gundam, so I would recommend that. In fact, I don't think Zeta is that good. I think it's fondly remembered, but I don't think it's that good, honestly. Unpopular opinion alert. I thought Double Zeta was neat to watch Char's counterattack. It's not. You can just go directly to Char counterattack. It's really fine. You should only watch Double Zeta if you really like Haman. And I really like Haman, but even then I wasn't able to finish Double Zeta. It's not great. The whole point of Double Zeta is to be like, "Whoa, Haman-sama! Please step on me." Zeta is a real 4 out of 10, especially if you watch the TV series instead of the movies. Because there's an entire, like, there's so many fucking unneeded plot points in the TV series. Everybody remembers Fo Murasame as, like, the tragic Lala figure of Zeta. But if you watch the TV version of Zeta, there's an entire, like, second bitch that's also trying to do the same thing. They didn't have enough ideas, so they did the same fucking plot of, you know, artificial new types twice in Zeta. And they dragged that shit out. I forgot what her name was. It was like Rosario or something like that. But she's some purple-haired bitch, and she, like, loses her mind. And she's walking around naked in the anime, and she's being like, I'm your little sister, Camille. I'm like, I guess this was supposed to be fan service. And of course she dies tragically. I'm just like, holy shit, give me back all the time I spent watching this arc. This is so fucking... Yeah, Rosami, that's right. It's just like, Jesus Christ, this is bad writing. Nobody gives a fuck about this bitch. Nobody talks about her, by the way. When people go about, like, tragedy in the Zeta context, they always go to Fo. Do you say four in English? Or do you just still say fo? Like, in katakana, it's fo. Either way, man, it's, it ain't great. Zeta is a 4 out of 10 that looks really good. I mean, it looks better than the first TV show, that's for sure. But it looks like shit compared to the OVAs, so... What can I say? If someone was, like, trying to get into, Gundam, and they were asking me whether they can skip Zeta, I'd just be like, just watch the movies, that's enough. In fact, I think you can consume most of Gundam by just watching the movie versions. Watch the movies for 0079. In fact, there's a movie version of Kukulus Doan's Island, so you can watch that. Considered to be one of the better episodes of the TV series that was left out of the original movies. You can watch that in movie format now. Then watch the movies for Zeta. Skip Double Zeta. Go straight to the movie of Char's counterattack. Then watch F91. There you go. I think Four and Rosami are interesting characters that teach me that cyber new types are going to be the end of me. What if you get a lowly cyber new type? You get Puru number 13. I guess that's the other reason in which you would want to watch Double Zeta, is if you're a filthy lolicon and you want Puru and Puru 2 and stuff like that. You're like, oh, prepubescent female children. I must come. If you're one of those, then Double Zeta is for you. Does anyone remember how Zeta hyped up Jabuto's space for like 8 episodes, and then when you finally reach the episode for that battle, it's the most by the book shit ever? All that build up and for fucking what, a standard skirmish? If you're gonna watch the TV show of Zeta, you really should just skip to the end. Like, shit finally happens at the end, but it's also like boring, I don't give a fuck shit. Like, I always assumed that characters like Emma wouldn't die in Zeta because they were just so boring. Like, they may as well survive because they don't actually provide us with anything by dying, but they do die. Spoilers. Ultimately, what I don't like about Zeta is that it goes full into drama bullshit. Whereas what made 0079 good was it had drama shit, but it also maintained like military action and stuff. Like, all the characters in Zeta feel like they're just a bunch of kids playing with toys, you know? It's very strange. It doesn't feel like a war is being fought. because it only centers around a very limited amount of characters. The scale seems very small. The way people behave is absurd. Honestly, I think it has a lot of Tomino's worst instincts on display, is how I would describe Zeta. So yeah, my recommendation for people who haven't watched Gundam and are thinking of getting into it would be to watch the movies and watch the movie version of Zeta so you don't have to spend too much time on it. And then after Char's counterattack movie, go straight to like the Turn A movie. Turn A movies are good. Turn A is good. People in Zeta are very intense. They salute each other with slaps. Remember when, what's her name, the redhead was like, I am part of this military organization, but I realized that I was a woman. And as a woman, I need to go find who I am as a woman, so I'm gonna betray you and join Shiroko's other fleet. It wasn't even a fucking fleet, honestly. It was just like one battleship. I was just like, what is this bitch talking about? Yeah, Rekoa the toxic woman. You know how little that narrows it down? There's like 5 toxic women in Zeta alone. They're all toxic. It's harder to find one that isn't toxic, to be honest. But she's especially toxic even among them. Childhood friend Chan Fa follows around Camille the entire anime, and what does she get for all of her hard work? She has to scoop Camille's shit out with a spoon now that he's like a vegetable. Lelouch's harem is way better than Camille's harem. Nobody actually likes Camille. If they do, all they do is like slap each other to show their love. Lelouch's harem actually, like, they want to be with him, and they're also competent. I remember at the end of Code Geass when Karen, the strongest of all Karens, is fucking shit up, and I stood up and clapped because she was being so competent. I was like, no, that's right, let's go. That's the ace pilot right there, boys. She's not just a redhead in a bunny suit. I haven't seen Lelouch in a while, so the only relationship I have with Code Geass at this point is the steady supply of porn that is still being produced in 2025. Karen being forced to suck British dick in her bunny suit, etc., etc. Feels good, man. Rekoa is very open about it. She cannot live unless a man is using her like a tool, and she says it. I'm sure Tomino had like some actual relationships in real life where he knew women like that have traumatized him. And in fact, there are women like that in real life, I'm sure. The thing is that they shouldn't be allowed to operate extremely expensive billion-dollar mobile suits. There is so much Callan Force submission. There is so much bunny suit dark-skinned man content. Yes. There's a lot of other hot girls in Code Geass, but They don't get much screen time because Kellen takes up so much space. The bunny suit content is so available, it's suffocating. There's nothing we can do about it. The best parts of Zeta are Haman, Yazan, and Katz dying. Hated almost everything else. Only Haman is good. Also, I like Char just hanging around and being useless. That's pretty funny as well. And getting his face punched and stuff. The idea of Char being a mentor is cool as shit, but they completely fumbled it. I mean, did they though? I kind of feel like him being an ineffective mentor and not being very helpful and fumbling his opportunities and stuff is pretty accurate. I don't know. I think Char is one of those people that he seems like he's super talented and he's good at everything, but when it actually comes to execution, he's always going to fuck everything up, so I'm not sure that's inaccurate. I want to believe Char is cooking. I have to keep watching to discover what other plots he's plotting. Char has a pretty low success rate. In fact, the only reason he's successful is because Gundam writing is stupid. Although I guess they sort of go into the details of stuff in like Origin, so it doesn't seem as ridiculous, but like he just shows up with an entire army and Char's counterattack and stuff, you know? Everyone's like, yeah, let's drop an asteroid on Earth. It's like, oh, Char just convinced everybody that he's like the official ruler of space now and everybody's following him to their graves. Cool. Gundam is a sci-fi space opera that pretends to be serious, but it should not be taken serious. Bicha and Mondo are cooking more than Char. Who did have, like, the most plans in Gundam? I feel like everybody's just sort of flying. What about Master Asia, whose entire plan was like, I love Earth so much that I need to support the Devil Gundam zombie robot army and kill all humans so that Earth can become beautiful again. I guess that's the exact same plan as Char, except it doesn't involve dropping an asteroid. I said that you can consume Gundam in just by watching the movies. One version where you can't consume by watching the movies is G Gundam. Everybody should watch G Gundam from beginning to end. That is an anime that actually has payoffs. Manliness. Super Robot Gundam, the best version of Gundam. Char is the heir of Giren, which is ironic. Is he? I mean, is he... You mean as in he's advertising himself as that in Counterattack? Doesn't he say that he's Zeon Daikun's son in Counterattack? Isn't that the whole point of his legitimacy? is that he's a proper space Nazi aristocrat. G Gundam would be cool if it was a parody. Unfortunately, G Gundam wants you to take it seriously. You should take G Gundam seriously. It's going to teach you how to be a man. You just don't have enough hot-blooded spirit in your body to understand why G Gundam is awesome if you don't like it. The problem is with you. I wonder how good Super Robot Wars is now. The problem with Super Robot Wars is that it's always interesting in the first half of it because you can see like how all the plots fit together and shit, and you always get some like nice moments where like Shinji is actually surrounded by relatively functional adults instead of fucking Misato and his abusive father, and it turns out that Shinji is doing just fine as long as he has good adults around him. But besides that, once you get to the end part of Super Robot Wars, it always ends up, the gameplay starts to suffer, you know, because for one thing, there's always too many enemies. They always end up having too much hit points. It always becomes too easy as well. Everything becomes like damage sponge territory. I don't know. I think there's some serious Super Robot Wars gameplay issues. As someone who's played about 5 or 6 Super Robot Wars games. G Gundam is the prettiest of 90s anime TV. I mean, fucking watch the fucking opening, dude. Just the fucking opening alone. Like, bing! It took me forever to figure out this was like a ring. I know they like clearly said it was a ring, but it makes no sense. Computer graphics were a mistake, guys. We must force animators to slave and just draw everything by hand. Look at this soul. Back when China was an ally. Russia as well. This is a peak 90s moment where we were like, we're all gonna get along with these other world powers. Childhood friend who is also your mechanic, who also wears mini skirts all the time. I never liked Rain, by the way. I was always an Alan B man. How they used to make animation so smooth, they used slave labor, that's why. Rain is barely a character, she's hot though. Yeah, but then it was a huge mistake for them to introduce blue-haired tomboy. What is she? Swedish? Denmark? I think it was Swedish, right? I can't remember. Scandinavian, short-haired tomboy who is way better fit with the main character. And everyone was like, I don't want Rain anymore. I want boy girl. Anti-slaves are better than AI. There's a lot of episodes at the time where it looks pretty fucking rough. peak 90s animation when shit was still hand painted looks better than peak 2025 animation, but the average episode quality of 2025 animation is way, way higher than 90s episode quality. That's how it sort of ends up working out. Because the person who's drawing the opening sequence is like a master animator, right? But they can't maintain that quality for like the entire time. Also, the hand-painted colors still look better. Like, I know that they can actually like recreate those coloring schemes even with the digital coloring, and obviously it's way, way, way easier than hand-painting cells, but they rarely do it. They rarely like go for that warm color feel. And whenever I watch old 90s animation, I'm always like, damn, this looks so much better. Hand drawn plus digital colors, yeah. There was a nice combination up until the mid 2000s. But I've watched more recent anime where I feel like they've done a good job recreating the color schemes of the time, like Ranking of Kings and stuff. I was like, damn, the Ranking of Kings looks exactly like the 90s, so they can do it if they want to, but I don't know. Maybe it requires some amount of skill. I'm not sure what prevents them. Thankfully, Mappa is following the good traditions and not allowing their workers to see the light of the sun. That came out when they were doing Jujutsu Kaisen second season or something, right? Or am I thinking of a different anime studio? Either way, I think that applies to basically all anime studios except Kyoto Animation. I think KyoAni is one of the few ones in which they have a nice work environment. Men becoming more into tomboys and women becoming more into femboys. Men were always into tomboys. That has never changed. I mean, Rain is just a super boring character, and if we're talking G Gundam. Gundam has a great history of various tomboys. I mean, what about Turn A Gundam, another 90s Gundam that had some real Class A, beautiful, high quality Socie Turn A Gundam. This girl right here. God, I fucking love Capcom character design. I forgot who the author's name was, this character designer's name, but everything he touches fucking gold. You have the golden-haired Ojo-sama, twin Ojo-sama, but then you also get the younger tomboy girl to go with your femboy. So yeah, my recommendation would be to watch Turn A, honestly. I really like Turn A. Turn A is an interesting anime because it's like the opposite of all this shit that Tomino had done up to that point. If Evangelion was the deconstruction of the mecha genre compared to like Super Robot Wars and stuff like that before it, Turn A Gundam is like the deconstruction of the Gundam genre as written by Tomino. Tomino basically was like, I know I've killed everybody in all my previous anime, but for Turn A, nobody's gonna die. It's gonna be like a Shakespearean romance. Everybody's gonna have a happy ending. And we're gonna have a Giga femboy I think Lauren Sayak was like the original femboy, along with Bridget around the same time. Evangelion was the first postmodern anime. Yeah, I think you might be right about that one. Madoka Magica was the first postmodern anime. Shakespearean romance, happy ending. I mean, that's what it is, man. All of the plots in Turn A are very Shakespearean. Man dressing up as a woman, woman dressing up as a man, aristocracy. Ball watch GQX GQ, how is it? How do you say it? GAXU? GQAXU? AXU? And enjoy the cautionary tale of don't fall in love with a pretty boy who gets high spelling paint. Dangerous things will happen to you. They are not the boy's fault. GQAXU. I have no idea what's going on in the latest Gundam. I have been purposefully ignoring it because I don't like the animation style, so I know I'm not going to watch it in the first place. So what is this? Is this like an alternate history in which the Zeons won the war, except it's not actually about the alternate history, and it's about young high school age Gundam loving girls who want to pilot their mobile suits in the same way that high school girls want to pilot their tanks in Girls and Panzer. Is that what's going on? I have no fucking idea, but that's basically the impression I got from people reacting on Twitter. That's all I was able to pick up. I know that Char appears or something. Char gets in the Gundam. Is that what happened? I have no idea. Char steals the Gundam because the cabin was open and unguarded and wins the war. I don't know. I feel like they'd fuck up somehow. But whatever. Wait, is Kishiria-sama still alive? That doesn't make any sense. If Char won the war, he would have murdered the entire Zabi family. I guess they don't really care. I was seeing something about Kishiria-sama being around. Downer type, the gloomy but calming type, usually comes with long black hair. Here, let me draw you a downer girl in like 5 seconds. Average downer girl setup. Not a Hime cut, by the way. Let's give her some earrings. Earrings, choker. Baggy dress with shoulders out. Smoking. Something like this. I feel like this is the standard downer pack. Relatively dark makeup. Draws a goth. It's not a goth. There's a lot of overlap between goths and downers, but it's not Nana either. Here, let's consult Japanese Google to see what they think what a downer girl is. Downer ke fashion. Yeah, baggy clothing is a big part of it. It's kind of like relaxed. This is goth loli. That I don't know, man. What is Daunake fashion? Dark colors. That seems to be it. I don't know. Don't overthink about it. If dark colors is the only specific thing that they can think of, then there's just going to be a lot of overlap with goths. It's like goths where you're wearing black, but you don't have all the skulls and shit and like Raven Queen attached to it. Still gotta read Nana. Hasn't Nana not been updated in like 30 years? Can you draw her getting a high education degree? I assume that she's already in college, but Japanese college doesn't really help you. She's already in college, guys, don't worry. She's not studying. Japanese college is a place where women go to get date raped, according to my hentai. But seriously, I went to Japanese college and people just like, they don't go to class often. They like barely graduate, and the professors understand that too. People are just like, yeah, I'm skipping class, because there's no like participation grade. There's just like a test at the end of the year, or whatever, end of semester, and the teacher has to give the same test every year, and then the upperclassmen will share the answers to the test to the people below them, so you don't have to study. This is how Japanese college works. College is for meeting spouses and co-founders? Not really. Not in Japan. I don't think anybody meets in college in Japan and gets married. I'm not sure. It definitely is in America, but I'm not sure how much there's getting married based off of your college relations in Japan. I feel like everybody's just enjoying their last moment of freedom before they become corporate slaves. So they do a lot of just like drinking and like shit like that, and then they become shinsotsu or newly graduated, and then they become a corporate slave, and that's that. Isn't that most unis? I don't know. I did proper studying in my university, although it didn't help me at all. I am not using my bachelor's degree for anything, that's for sure. That's when the Spokon senpais die by drinking too much? Yeah. They didn't have enough Supokon Konjo. They didn't try hard enough. You don't just get an automatic Uzaki-chan in your first year. If you want an Uzaki-chan, you have to join the tennis circle. This is the place that's supposed to be for playing tennis, but all they do is have sex. And get drunk and stuff. I have no idea why women actually join these tennis circle type things when it's basically like a flashing neon sign that says, join this club if you want to get drugged and gang raped. This has only happened in literally every single tennis circle in every single college, every single year. Except women still do that, so I don't know. Apparently there's lots of sex going on. That's what you youngsters call it nowadays. I think they do a little bit of tennis. I wonder if I had. So I was in Japan for one semester, and because I was on the swim team back in America, I also joined the swim team in Japan as well. But I do wonder if I had joined the tennis circle, I would have somehow magically lost my virginity. Probably not. Because they would be like, yo, we have a drinking party this next day, you have to attend. I'd be like, yeah, I don't feel like it, and I wouldn't have attended. I don't get it, just joined the sexual service club. I have good sources that tell me of this practice. It's literally a term for that called yarisa, yari being to do. In this case, to do means to do sex. And the tennis circle is always a yarisa, sa being circle, of course. So yeah, the Japanese have already figured out how to do this. I just like tennis because I'm a weenie, whiny, weak kid and the ball at high speeds went too hard for my arm. I prefer badminton. Isn't badminton at high levels still like giga fast though? I've seen like the Chinese play badminton. They're losing their minds. I mean, the true high-speed sport is table tennis, of course. Full ping pong mode. But that won't get you laid, unfortunately. Average ping pong player. At least in Japan. This is the average ping pong player in Japan. Extremely unattractive loser with glasses that can also move at the speed of light and defeat you at table tennis easily, but then never get laid because women don't actually find that attractive. His grip is wrong. So I think the grips is like, you can have this one, right? And then there's the one where you hold it upside down, like this. You know what I mean? I don't know which one is which. Would the dwarf friend be good at ping pong, or would the beard get in the way of his moves too much? Dwarves are not about high explosive speed. They're about strength. They're strong, fat, and then slow, but durable, so they'd be bad at ping pong. Japanese table tennis pad have only one side, at least when I went to school. I don't know, I thought they had like two sides, but like you're only supposed to use one side. I don't know. I never played table tennis to any amount. I'm just, it's not my thing. Should we play it at the end? Yeah, you must play it with girl wearing yukata, and then the yukata will come off and you can see boobie. That's the point of table tennis. You go to onsen. You get her to play Takyu with her, and then you hope that the yukata will come off and you will see a nipple or something. This is long Japanese tradition. You gaijin pigs would not understand. Reminder, Peko ended the series by having 6 children. I did not know what happened in ping pong. With who? The other guy? Was it male preg? It was definitely male preg? Okay, I'm glad I knew that. I was worried for a second. I was worried that he might have had sex with a female, but I'm glad to know that it was only male on male pregnancy. Very important. Wait, is Sarada actually Sakura's daughter in Naruto, Boruto? I can't remember. The official canonically, it's Sasuke impregnated Sakura and then pumped and dumped her, right? Yes. Okay. I was thinking for a second that it might actually be a male preg situation. I couldn't remember. I actually in all honesty, couldn't remember if it was like an adopted child or something. She doesn't really look like either Sasuke or Sakura, so. Also, I can't imagine Sakura getting pregnant or having a male penis inside her because, she's so fucking unattractive, so. Sarada exists for age gap R34 and that's it. I must remind them again. Boruto Sarada new costume manga. I must remind them again. This is like, what, a 13-year-old? How old was she when they were like, here's the time skip, boys? Your daughter is now a prostitute. I was like, holy shit. I didn't give a single fuck about Boruto up until this point, and then I was like, damn, this guy is cooking. He really cannot, this author really knows what he wants, doesn't it? This is like actual peak Lolita age, when Nabokov wrote about faunettes and stuff like that. This is what he was talking about right here. Still slightly bony, but like hitting that 13 to 14-year-old range. It's always funny how Sasuke kept saying that he needs to restore his clan. Like, bro, how are you gonna do that, male preg? I can just imagine what happened on the night when Sakura got pregnant. Sasuke was probably like hiding his face with his hands, thinking about Naruto and waiting for the deed to end as Sakura just rode him. It's just like, it's a literal look at the ceiling and think of the Uchiha clan kind of moment right there. He probably felt awful afterwards. It's like, what have I done? I've touched a woman. I still can't figure out if Kishimoto understood how incredibly gay his characters appeared to be to anybody who was understanding of male sexuality, or if he was just doing it completely unaware. He probably used some special jutsu where he impregnated her with that forehead flick just like Itachi programmed his manga kill? Probably. I think it's highly likely that Sakura is still a virgin or something. He used impregnation no jutsu. They kissed in the first few chapters. Yeah, but it was handled in a comedic way. I still can't figure out if Kishimoto was like going for the full homo or not. He seems like someone who isn't that self-aware. Based on Samurai 8. I think Kishimoto actually went gay with them. Like, bro, they make a heart with their blood together. I mean, I'm a man and I make blood hearts with my best bro rival all the time. It's just something that guys do. Isn't that right, fellow gachi men? Samurai 8 is what happens when Togashi isn't allowed to be copied. I often think that editors in the shonen manga genre are not necessarily needed, but every once in a while there's a situation where it's like, I can clearly tell that this mangaka became too successful and there was basically no one to tell him that the thing he was writing was not very good and most people wouldn't be interested in this. And he just went on with it, and no one could stop him. I don't know. I think it's just a clear like loss of editor power. I think this happens quite a bit in manga, where the second series after like a huge giga hit, the editors can't say no, and it ends up being a huge failure because of that. Naruto be like, Hinata just sacrificed her life for me and confessed her love for me. Let me just go through an emo sad boy phase and pine over whether Sasuke thinks about me. Yeah, I sort of remember that vaguely. I mean, to give Naruto credit, at least he didn't go through his emo sad boy phase while Hinata was like literally dying in his arms, because that seemed to have been a real possibility. At least he waited until it turned out Hinata wasn't dead. Also, when I was at Planet Fitness this morning, there was a black guy wearing a Naruto's Pain t-shirt working out, and I was just like, the black guys who like 2000s anime and Dragon Ball, that streak is still undefeated. Average black guy watches a ninja anime and is like, you see this orange-haired ninja? That's me. He's just like me. Black people love Yu Yu Hakusho. Aritagatou gozaimasu. Mecha mecha. Black people fucking love Yusuke. I wonder why. I never thought Yusuke was particularly interesting as a character, honestly. Doesn't matter what kind of guy you are, you see Goku or Naruto and you think, bro, that's me. I don't know. I see Majin Buu and think that's me. Just lazy fuck eating cookies. Doesn't want to train. I'm not as fat as Majin Buu, but I'm working on it. Girl sees Naruto, bro, that's me. I think it's more like girl sees Hiei and is like, bro, I hope this edgelord midget rapes me. It's generally agreed among the Japanese internet that Hiei was the first true Chuuni character as like the pioneer of the Chuuni genre of cringe edgelord darkness. I'm like Mr. Satin, self-interested but a goodish guy. It's easy to forget that Mr. Satin, Satan, is still a very accomplished martial artist because he's around Goku and stuff, but he's still capable of beating 95% of normal human martial artists. What do you think of Konosuba? I haven't really gotten into it. It's too close to what I do as a living, you know? Parodying standard fantasy tropes. I feel like if I watch it, then I wouldn't be able to write anything because I'd be like, Konosuba also did that. He is very good at martial arts. He's just not supernatural level like Muten Roshi and Krillin. I mean, you can see that he's talented because his daughter learned how to fly in like a day and a half as she was being denied the Chad Gohan cock. That feel when you're a talented martial artist female who shows up to get Gohan-chan's fertile Saiyajin seed, and all he does is teach you how to fly. I wonder how good Yamcha is at baseball, knowing how to fly and doing light speed punches and that. I wonder if Yamcha was just toning it down after a while, because I feel like Yamcha became a realist. The fact that he's playing baseball instead of like engaging in martial arts tells me that he just wants to live a normal life and, you know, fuck bitches. So maybe he's just like, keeps it at, like batting 70%, 700 batter instead of being a 100% batter or something, you know? Toriyama should have never removed Vidal's twin tails. You know, when I was going to Japanese high school, for some reason, during our graduation period, like the yearbook activities, one of them was deciding which person from which class was which Dragon Ball character, and I was voted as Supopo Bichi, the big muscular bald guy that beats the shit out of Vidal. Which, you know, is quite an honor if you ask me. I would be honored to be Supopo Bichi. The pioneer of the Ryona genre for so many young people. Who gets to beat the shit out of I could have been the other guy that was infected by Majin Buu or whatever instead of Supopo Bichi, so I think I lucked out on that one. Does Supopo Bichi show up if I Google it? DB Supopo What? It doesn't show up? What if I put in Dragon Ball? What's his name? Not Super Bitch. Are you telling me that I'm spelling it wrong? Supopo. No, that's Mr. Popo. What the fuck? Is it a different term? SPPO? Man, Google is shit now. Spopovich? Wow, they should be able to get that. Even with the slight spelling differences. I guess Google really is getting worse. If they can't even, like, find extremely famous Dragon Ball characters. Feels good, man. My neck is turning in the opposite direction. Spopovich. Nice. He's actually featured in video games and stuff. Classic scene. Tomboy getting beaten up. It's okay. Just give her Senzu beans, she'll be fine. Does your name start with L? Yes, this is why I don't use this web browser, because it's giving off personal information. Whatever, it's fine. Leon? Don't dox yourself? Yeah. That's why I usually use Firefox when I'm browsing. Because obviously Google keeps on showing your personal information if you're not careful. Enters first tournament, gets murdered on stage. Don't worry, we'll just be brought back to life with Dragon Balls, it's fine. Leonard. There's not many L names. Lewis. Lawrence. I guess not. I guess there are a bunch of L names now I think about it. Larry. Lothario. That's a good one. Perfect name for me. I'm definitely a Lothario. Leon! Leon! Alright, stop worrying about my doxing myself. Well, the fill tool is doing okay, but I still have to fill everything by hand, of course. How is Ball stream for this long? Because I'm trying to get shit done is why. Also, I started earlier, so my room isn't 1,000,000 degrees yet, which allows me to go for longer periods. The worst that would happen is someone sending cum to your mailbox. My mother is not happy that she doesn't want her information on the internet, and because I'm still living in my mother's house at the ripe age of 39, I have to follow her directions to make sure I don't dox myself. Also, if you send me cum in the mailbox, I never open the mail, so I won't notice. I force my mother to do all mail duties because I don't give a fuck. Also because she donates. Never donate anything in if you donate money in America to like a wildlife foundation and shit, you end up getting fucking spam mail from these non-profit organizations all year round. So my mother always complains about me never taking in the mail and never opening it, and she has to like sort the mail, and I'm just like 95% of the mail is stupid fucking spam mail because you made one donation to Habitat for Humanity once, and now they're gonna send us fucking spam mail every single day for the rest of the year for in perpetuity. But yeah, if you put cum in a mailbox, it's gonna be all dry. I remember when I was 14, you know those paper calendars, those daily paper calendars? Like, I think I had like a Far Side daily calendar. I was like 13 or 14, and finally, like, my sperm was starting to go into overdrive. So I would take each piece of paper of the daily calendar, and I would cum for that day. Put I would basically make a cum sandwich between the pieces of paper. So I would have like a stack of sheets of daily calendar pages pasted together by my dried cum. I got to about like, I don't know, 100 sheets before it started to fall apart. I just like to say that cum is not a good substitute for glue, if anyone is worrying about that. Too much information. The entire point of this stream is to provide you with too much information. You better get used to it. Not before it started to smell and look like death. It's not gonna rot, dude. It's just gonna dry. It's just like blood. It's not like bacteria or anything. It just dries and becomes nothing. It's like snot, you know? Are you a retard? No, but I think we're all retards when we were like 14, I would say. One of us is gonna roll up to your house in a mobility scooter. I wonder where you can get the mobility scooters. In America, you can like literally get them at your local grocer. I guess you have to order them. Sometimes when you're watching TV late at night in America, they advertise mobility scooters and how you can get them using government assistance money. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, my taxes are going to these people. Surely the paper would grow mold? No, mold can't grow if it doesn't have a certain amount of moisture to it. So if it's just cum, the cum just dries and it doesn't get enough moisture. At least my stack of paper that I was building. Like I know our hentai makes us think differently, but we don't produce a lot of cum. It's not like we're drenching our floors with a massive bucket loads of cum. That's not how it works. If there's ever a murder case and the FBI has to blacklight my room, like in Basic Instinct, they're gonna be like, holy shit, look at that blacklight pattern. He's coming everywhere. But maybe if it's too old, it won't show up like that. Yeah, we don't really come as much as we think we do. Hentai has made us think highly of ourselves in terms of how much semen we produce, but it's really just like a teaspoon worth of semen per ejaculation. It's really not that much. It's not like, say, if we got like stabbed and then blood would go everywhere. There's only a little bit of cum coming out. Also poop. If you're shitting yourself, that's way more material than if you're just like coming. In terms of like total stuff that we have in our body, if our body ruptures, number one would be like blood and guts, but like after that it would be like poo poo and pee pee. We do produce a lot of semen if you don't jork it for like 72 hours. We never produce as much semen to satisfy like the hentai standards though. There's like some hentai scenes where the girl is covered in so much white stuff you can barely see her. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I can't jack off to this. It's only just like a pattern of white here. The Japanese are genius. To be honest, they took D&D elves and made them kuma dicks with wiggly ears. They took vampires and made them coom suckers, calling them succubi. There's lots of vampires that are still vampire-like that also are horny as well, though. Like Rosario and Vampire and stuff like that. Like you don't have to become a succubi. Morrigan is a Japanese archetype. Did we have that outfit before Morrigan? I think we did. I don't think she was a pioneer of the succubi. I'm pretty sure there's like some 70s Nagai Go, some like devil shit that probably predates Morrigan in terms of how we think about sex demons. Morrigan is such an archetype, she outgrew the franchise. She's the succubus worldwide. It's not that hard to outgrow a franchise when the franchise is like literally dead, so it's not growing at all. Thanks a lot, Capcom. Western succubi and D&D and stuff look like demons. Morrigan is basically a vampire, but for coom. I guess the bat wings and stuff. But I don't know, demons had bat wings before Morrigan. I don't think she's that pioneering in terms of how it looks. Go Nagai's art design is iconic. Go Nagai's character designs aren't iconic. I'm not saying Go Nagai designed succubi. I'm just saying there's probably something similar to Morrigan before her. I don't think it's 100% like starting from her. They look like demons with hooves and shit. There was a period before when manga became the universally accepted form of communication when Westerners were allowed to design everything and everything was ugly. And they were like, oh, this is an evil female character. Let's make her look unattractive. And then Japan was like, should we do that? We should make everything look like cute girls. Battleships look like cute girls. Demons look like cute girls. Boys look like cute girls. Cute girls look like cute girls. And now everything looks like cute girls. At least until we enter the DEI era, I guess. But for, there was a period, and it's easy to forget that there's a period in Western media in which shit was ugly, not because they thought it was politically correct to make shit ugly, but because they didn't even, consider making evil females fuckable, What a dumb culture. Can't think of anything similar to Morgan before her other than vampires, sorta. When was Vampirella? Vampirella first appeared in 1969. This is what we're talking about here. Classic shit. The face looks a little weird. First collector's edition. This is probably worth a lot. The actual first collector's edition right here. It's kind of funny seeing Western games shooting themselves in the foot with wildly unsexy characters with Eastern games with far smaller budgets making bank. I'm just saying that before we entered the period in which Western games were doing this for political reasons, there was a period in which they were doing it because they were simply incapable of having attractive females because, I don't know, Western media be like that. Sometimes. I mean, look at Mortal Kombat 9, often raised as an example of when Mortal Kombat was at its horniest. The female character designs still are like, they're weirdly off, you know. The shoulders are too wide, the hips are too narrow. The thing with this Western archetype from this time is that the character always looked angry or feral, whereas Morrigan almost looks kind while being seductive. I'd say that's unique to Morrigan, and it hasn't been passed on to any other succubi. As someone who's drawn Morrigan multiple times, I often still struggle with that expression she has, usually. She's sort of a 1 out of 1. Capcom character design was just like, it was on a different level back then. It's still pretty good. Morrigan is officially public domain, guys. She's the internet's OC. My dick is public domain to Morrigan. She's free to use it anytime she wants. I'm waiting. There's barely any other succubus character. I mean, but there's a million hentai with succubi. But they don't have the same aura that Morrigan has. She's kind of special in that way. It always comes back to Capcom. Alright guys, I am out of content to color in and stuff, so I'm going to end the stream here. See you around. I'm trying to enter the finishing stage of a lot of these pages, even though I'm only like halfway through the manga. So I don't know how often I'm gonna stream because I need to do the line work and then I can do like the finishing stuff in the manga while on stream. But there's also a lot of finishing content that I can't do on stream as well because I can't figure out how I want to do it. So I don't know. I don't know how much streaming I'm gonna do. We'll see you around. See you around, guys. Good night.